Have you ever caught yourself standing in front of the mirror, turning to the side and thinking, wait, where did my butt go? Maybe it used to be rounder, fuller, more lifted, and now it just looks flat, deflated, like something quietly disappeared without telling you. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know you are not imagining it, and you are absolutely not alone. Hi, I'm Louisa Hart, and today I'm going to tell you something that most fitness videos, most personal trainers, and most health articles are completely skipping over. Something that is the actual reason your glutes keep losing shape. Even when you stay active, even when you try to exercise, even when you feel like you're doing everything right. And here's the wild part. Once you understand this, everything clicks. Because the fix isn't what you think it is. So stay with me, because this one is going to change how you think about your body completely. Let's start with what's actually happening. For most adults over 50, the backside doesn't just shrink uniformly. It flattens in very specific places. The sides, the upper region, right where that round, lifted shape used to live. You start to notice what people call hip dips, or a saggy, almost concave look in your jeans, or just this strange sense that no matter what you wear, nothing sits the way it used to. And the automatic assumption, the one almost everyone makes, is, I need to do more glute exercises. Squats, bridges, lunges, donkey kicks, more. But here's what nobody is telling you, and I mean almost nobody. You cannot rebuild your glutes if your pelvis is out of position. Read that again because it matters. You cannot rebuild your glutes if your pelvis is out of position. Because your glutes, especially the gluteus medius, that crucial side glute muscle that's responsible for the fullness and roundness of your hips, cannot activate properly when your pelvic alignment is off. If your pelvis is tilted forward, shifted to one side, or rotated even slightly, and this happens to almost everyone with age and prolonged sitting, it literally shuts off the glute's ability to fire. The signal from your brain to your muscle gets disrupted, scrambled, like a phone call with no signal. So you do your squats, you do your bridges, you maybe even go to the gym, and nothing changes. Because the muscle isn't in the right position to engage. You're working hard, but you're working around the problem instead of through it. That ends today. In this video, I'm walking you through two simple science-supported movements specifically designed for adults over 50. The first one resets your pelvic alignment. It's almost like rebooting your body's operating system. The second one builds real strength and fullness in the exact glute muscles that have gone quiet, fixing the flatness from the inside out the right way. And before we go further, if you're watching this and you're over 50, I genuinely want to hear from you. Drop a comment below with your first name, your age, and where in the world you're watching from. Seriously, this isn't just a video, this is a community, a growing, thriving, incredibly strong community of people who are choosing to show up for themselves, one small, intentional step at a time. I read every single comment, and I would love to know you. Now, let's get into the science, because once you understand why this works, you're going to feel so much more motivated to do it. Here's the part that changes everything. Your pelvis is not just a bone structure. It is the control center of your entire lower body. It governs how your hips move, how your spine stacks, and whether your glutes can even access the movement they need to function. When your pelvis is in a good neutral position, everything flows. Your glutes fire, they stabilize, they grow, They do their job. But when your pelvis tilts too far forward, which is called anterior pelvic tilt, super common after years of sitting, or shifts slightly to one side, which is called lateral asymmetry, it creates a neuromuscular disconnect. Your brain sends the signal. The muscle doesn't receive it clearly. And so other muscles step in to compensate. Your lower back, your thighs, your hip flexors. They pick up the slack that your glutes are supposed to be handling. And the glutes? They get quieter, more underused, more underdeveloped, until eventually they essentially switch off. This is why you can walk every single day. This is why you can do bridges 3 times a week. This is why you can strength train and still look in the mirror and think, why is my butt still flat? Because the muscle is there. It just isn't being told to work, not properly, not from the right position. Now let me give you the research, because this isn't just my opinion. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy found that pelvic alignment directly affects how gluteal muscles are recruited during exercise. In people with anterior pelvic tilt or lateral asymmetry, both extremely common in adults over 50, glute activation was significantly reduced even when they were performing standard glute exercises. They were doing the exercises, the muscles just weren't getting the message. The American Council on Exercise also published research emphasizing that muscles can only strengthen effectively when the joints they cross are in optimal alignment. Otherwise, the body compensates, trains the wrong muscles, reinforces bad patterns, and makes the underlying problem worse over time. And here's why this becomes so much more significant after 50. As we age, we naturally tend to sit more, move a little less, our posture shifts, our hips tighten, and without deliberate attention, pelvic misalignment becomes the default, especially in women after menopause, when hormonal changes affect connective tissue, and in men who have spent decades in desk jobs or driving long distances with low core engagement. The glutes don't just shrink with age, they disconnect, they go offline. And once they're offline, everything downstream suffers. Your balance, your walking mechanics, your ability to get up from a chair without using your arms, your lower back pain, your knees. This is not just about how your genes fit, this is about how you move through life. So before we do anything else, before we do a single squat or bridge or lunge, we have to restore the foundation. We have to get the pelvis back into a position where the glutes can actually respond. We have to wake up those neural pathways and remind your brain and your body how to talk to each other again. That's exactly what the first movement does. Exercise 1, the wall. Hinge with lateral shift. I love this exercise. I love teaching it. Because every time I show it to someone, there's this moment, usually about the 3rd or 4th rep, where their eyes kind of go wide and they say, oh, I can feel that. And that moment is everything. This is not a squat, it's not a stretch, it's not cardio. It is a retraining drill, a very specific, very intentional movement that helps your brain rediscover your glutes, especially the ones that are supposed to shape the sides of your hips. Here's what it does inside your body. It realigns your pelvis into a neutral, centered position, like resetting a scale back to 0. It gently activates both the gluteus maximus, your main glute muscle, and the gluteus medius, that all-important side glute. It restores balance between the left and right sides of your hips, which over time can become very uneven without you realizing it. And it creates a stronger, more stable foundation for every other movement you do. Walking, standing, climbing stairs, all of it. Most importantly, it starts to undo what years of sitting have done to your body. Because sitting shortens your hip flexors, it tilts your pelvis forward, and it gradually trains your glutes to stay quiet. The wall hinge with lateral shift begins to reverse all of that. When you shift your hips side to side in this controlled hinged position, you are recentering your pelvis over your base of support. You're teaching your core and your glutes to work together, what we call co-contraction. And you're waking up all those stabilizer muscles that have been sleeping, the gluteus medius, the deep hip rotators, even the obliques. A 2021 study published in Physical Therapy and Sport found that low-load, closed-chain pelvic repositioning drills, exactly what this exercise is, improved gluteal symmetry and recruitment in older adults after just 2 weeks of consistent practice. 2 weeks, not months, 2 weeks. This isn't about feeling a burn. This is about restoring communication, reconnecting the map, so the right muscles can finally fire when you need them. Let me walk you through exactly how to do it. Stand about 6 to 8 inches away from a wall with your back to the wall. Feet about shoulder width apart. Toes turned very slightly inward. This helps open up the back of the hips and gives the glutes better access. Knees soft, not locked. Arms relaxed at your sides or resting lightly on your hips. Now, begin a gentle hip hinge. Push your hips back and slightly down until your butt just barely taps the wall behind you. You're not sitting on the wall, just a light touch. Your torso will lean slightly forward, but keep your spine long. No rounding. Imagine there's a straight line from the top of your head all the way down through your tailbone. Now, in this hinged position, shift your hips slightly to the left, just a few inches. You should start to feel something wake up in your right glute, that outer side region. Shift back to center. Pause. Now shift slightly to the right. Feel the left glute respond. Back to center. Then slowly stand all the way back up. That is 1 repetition. Aim for 8 to 10 slow, controlled reps. Rest for a moment, then do a second set. A couple of coaching notes before you try this. Think of the movement as gently rocking your pelvis from side to side, not twisting your torso. The hips move, the upper body stays mostly still. Keep your weight balanced evenly between both feet throughout. And go slow. Precision beats speed every single time with this one. If you find balance difficult at first, that is completely okay. Lightly rest your fingertips on a countertop or the back of a chair in front of you for support. There's no shame in using support. Smart training means working with your body, not fighting it. This movement might feel small. It might feel almost too simple. But I promise you, the impact is not small. This is the difference between training your glutes in the right position and just exhausting yourself reinforcing poor posture. It changes everything that comes next. And what comes next is where we start building. Exercise 2, the wall-facing squat with calf raise. Your pelvis is reset. Your glutes are waking up. Now we give them something to do. This second movement is where shape, fullness, and real functional strength start to come back, especially in the gluteus medius, that side glute muscle that most people never directly train, and that is the single biggest factor in whether your backside looks round and lifted or flat and deflated. This is not a gym squat. This is a posture-correcting, glute-shaping, balance-building movement that is tailor-made for the way your body works after 50. It works with your anatomy, not against it. Here's what it targets: the gluteus medius more deeply than almost any traditional squat can. Your calves, your hips, and your core, all at the same time. Your upright posture and pelvic control reinforcing everything you just built in exercise 1, and your balance and coordination, which are frankly just as important as strength and often more neglected. Why does facing the wall make such a difference? Because it forces you to maintain a tall, upright spine. You can't collapse forward. The wall is right there. It keeps your knees aligned with your hips instead of caving inward. And it loads the posterior chain, the glutes, especially the medius and the calves, in a way that typical squats done without this constraint often miss. Your body has to do it right. Then, we add a calf raise at the bottom of the squat. And this is where things get really interesting. That calf raise challenges your stabilizing muscles in a completely different way. It improves balance. It builds functional movement patterns, the kind you use every single day when you're walking on uneven ground, or stepping off a curb, or just standing in line at the grocery store. A 2022 study in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that integrated lower body movements with balance components improved both muscle tone and fall resilience in adults over 60, even without any external weights. Just body weight, done with intention and control. This move teaches your glutes to work in real life. Because in real life, strength and balance don't happen separately. They happen together. Here's how to do it. Stand facing a wall about 6 to 8 inches away, feet slightly wider than your hips, toes angled out about 10 to 15 degrees. Place both hands lightly on the wall at about shoulder height, just for support and to help maintain your posture. Begin lowering into your squat. Chest stays up. Knees track right over your toes. Don't let them cave inward. Go as low as feels comfortable for your body today. Ideally, you're aiming for thighs at about a 45 to 60 degree angle. You don't need to go all the way to parallel. Listen to your body. Now here's the magic moment. At the bottom of the squat, rise up onto your toes. Lift both heels off the ground. You're engaging your calves and your glutes simultaneously, and you're challenging your balance in a really productive way. Hold at the top of that heel raise for 1 to 2 seconds. Feel the glutes working. Feel the calves firing. Then lower your heels slowly and with control. Press through your feet to return to standing. That is 1 rep. Do 10 to 12 controlled reps, rest, and repeat for 2 to 3 sets. A few things to keep in mind as you do this. Stay tall. Your face and your knees should not be touching the wall. Keep your knees gently pressed outward throughout the movement. This is the cue that most directly activates the gluteus medius. Slow is your best friend here. Control matters infinitely more than depth or speed. And if you want to make it more challenging, try pausing at the bottom for an extra 2 or 3 seconds before coming up. That little pause creates enormous activation. Why does this matter so much specifically after 50? Because this movement builds the kind of leg strength you actually need for your actual life. Getting up from a chair, walking upstairs, stabilizing yourself when you step on something unexpected. It teaches your brain to fire the glutes first, not the knees, not the lower back. It directly challenges the gluteus medius, which means it addresses the root cause of hip dips and the flattening of the outer glute region. And it does all of this without a single piece of equipment. This movement is especially powerful when done right after the wall hinge lateral shift, because now your pelvis is already aligned, your glutes are already awake, and everything you put in during exercise 1 gets to pay off here in exercise 2. Together, these two movements form a complete system. Exercise 1 restores alignment and reconnects the mind-muscle link. Exercise 2 rebuilds strength, shape, and functional balance. Restore, rebuild, reinforce. And you don't need a gym. You don't need weights. You don't need a single piece of equipment. You just need a wall, your own body weight, and the decision to show up for yourself. Now, I want to take a moment and talk to you directly, not as a fitness presenter, just as someone who genuinely cares about your well-being. Here's a truth that I think deserves to be said out loud. You don't lose your glutes simply because you age. You lose them because your body does exactly what bodies are designed to do. It adapts. It adapts to long hours of sitting. It adapts to repetitive movement patterns. It adapts to postural shifts that build up so gradually you never even notice them happening. And slowly, quietly, predictably, the glutes go from strong and active to flat and switched off. That is not a personal failure. That is not laziness. That is biology doing its job, and no one ever teaching you how to work with it instead of against it. But now you know. Now you understand that the shape of your backside isn't just about how many squats you've done. It's about whether your foundation was in place for those squats to even work. Now you know that fixing flat glutes isn't about doing more, punishing yourself more, or chasing soreness. It starts with something quieter and more powerful, reclaiming your foundation, your pelvis, your posture, the conversation between your brain and your muscles. And once that's in place, everything changes. Movements start to feel smoother, more natural. Your stance feels more solid under you. You start to notice more stability when you walk, more ease when you get up. And yes, your backside starts to look fuller, rounder, more alive, more like you again. But here's what I really want you to hold on to, because this is the part that matters most. Beyond the mirror, beyond how your jeans fit or how you look in a photo, what you are actually building here is freedom. Freedom to move without pain, freedom to walk, lift, climb stairs, and catch yourself if you lose your balance. Freedom to trust your body, to feel at home in it again, to stop dreading physical tasks and start feeling capable of them. That is what strong, functional glutes actually give you. Not just a better silhouette, a better life. And you don't need to overhaul your entire routine to get there. You don't need hours in the gym. You need intention. You need consistency. And you need a willingness to start small and trust the process. So if you have been frustrated, if you have felt like you've tried everything and nothing works, I want you to hear this. It is not too late. It is not your fault. You just hadn't been shown the right path until now. And now you have it. So here's what I want you to do right now. Before you scroll, before you move on, before the next video starts, drop a comment below. Tell me your name, your age, and where you're watching from. And tell me, which of these two movements are you most excited to try? Or maybe you've already started working on your pelvic alignment, and you've noticed something shift in how you move, how you feel, how you stand. Tell me about that. I want to hear it. This community is real. The people in these comments are real. People just like you, all over the world, choosing to move better, feel stronger, and stop accepting decline as inevitable. I am so proud of every single one of them. and I would love for you to be part of it too. If this video helped you, if something clicked, if something made sense that never made sense before, please share it. Send it to a friend, a partner, a sibling, someone you love who you know is dealing with this too. Because stronger glutes aren't just about aesthetics. They are about living fully, independently, confidently, on your own terms. I'm Louisa Hart. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Now go find your wall and let's get those glutes firing again.